1. The diagram below shows the position of Earth at 4 different times during the year. In what position would the United States receive the most hours of daylight? Position A, B, C, or D? 2. Vesna is studying how Earth's tilt results in seasonal differences in sunlight and day length. She drew a diagram of Earth to show how it is tilted on its axis. Vesna wants to include the label of Earth's tilt on her diagram. What angle should Vesna add? 15.5 degrees, 23.5 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees. 3. A diagram of Earth's orbit is shown below. Which of these choices best defines the orbit of Earth? The position in space of Earth at a certain time, the distance from the Sun to Earth at any point, the spin of Earth on its axis as it moves forward, the path Earth travels as it revolves around the Sun. 4. Kevin travels from the U.S. to Australia for the winter, but when he gets there it feels more like summer. Which of the following explains this? The northern hemisphere is experiencing the vernal equinox. The southern hemisphere is experiencing the autumnal equinox. The southern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, so it is summer in Australia. Or the southern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, so it's summer in Australia. 5. The diagram below shows how Earth spins on its axis, causing day and night. Which term describes the movement shown? Tilt, orbit, rotation, or revolution? 6. How long does it take Earth to complete one orbit around the sun? 1 day, 27 days, 60 days, 365 and 1/4 days. 7. When it's winter, the United States receives the least direct solar energy as compared to the rest of the year. Why does this happen? The northern hemisphere is closer to the sun. The southern hemisphere is farther from the sun. Or the northern hemisphere is farther from the sun. The northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, or the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun. 8. In the picture of Earth below, the United States is in the center. As Earth rotates, the position of the United States in this picture moves. How often will the United States be in the same position in this picture again? About every 12 hours, about every 24 hours, about every 6 months, or about every 12 months? 9. Which question should you ask to find out the length of a planet's year? How large is the planet? How long does it take the planet to orbit the sun? How much does the planet tilt on its axis of rotation? Or how long does it take the planet to rotate on its axis? 10. During equinox, the sun's rays strike Earth at a 90-degree angle along the equator. What is the result of the equinox? The hours of daylight and the hours of darkness are about the same. The hours of daylight are longer than the hours of darkness. The hours of darkness are longer than the hours of daylight. An unseasonably warm day in the midst of winter. 11. Examine the diagram of Earth's orbit below. At which part of the orbit is it summer in the southern hemisphere? Position 1, 2, 3, or 4? 12. What would happen if the time it took for Earth to make one rotation around its axis increased? A day would be shorter, a day would be longer, a year would be shorter, a year would be longer. 13. In addition to changes in the number of hours of daylight, what other factor contributes to Earth's seasons? Time of day, energy as heat from the moon, angle of the sun's radiation, warm air blowing from the oceans. 14. Bonita observes the moon several times during the month of August. She sketches the appearance of the moon on 4 days: August 1st, August 9th, August 17th, and August 24th, and identifies each lunar phase. Bonita's data is shown in the table below. First quarter, August 1st, full moon, August 9th, third quarter, August 17th, new moon, August 24th. On which date should Bonita expect the next new moon to take place? August 31st, September 7th, September 12th, September 22nd. 15. Sometimes the moon looks like a crescent, and other times the moon looks like a half circle. What makes it possible for you to see the surface of the moon from the Earth? The moon gives off its own light. Light from Earth is reflected by the moon's surface. Light from the sun is reflected by the moon's surface, or the moon absorbs sunlight during the day and glows at night. 16. The diagram below presents the phases of the moon as viewed from space. The various positions of the moon are numbered. Which position will appear as a waning gibbous moon when viewed from Earth? 2, 4, 6, or 8? 17. The phases of the moon are the changing appearances of the moon as seen from Earth. Which phase happens approximately 1 week after a third quarter moon? Hint: Step 1, recall how many phases the moon goes through in about a week. Step 2, identify the phase of the moon that number of phases after a third quarter moon. A, new moon. B, waxing gibbous. C, waning gibbous. D, waning crescent. 18. Each lunar cycle has one full moon in which the relative positions of Earth, the Sun, and the Moon form a straight line. Which list represents the position of Earth, the Sun, and the Moon during a full moon? A, Earth, Sun, Moon. B, Sun, Moon, Earth. C, Moon, Sun, Earth. D, Sun, Earth, Moon. 19. Just as Earth moves around the Sun, the Moon revolves around Earth. About how many Earth days does it take for the Moon to travel around Earth? 7 days, 28 days, 180 days, 365 days. 20. The phases of the Moon are the regular changes in how the Moon looks from Earth. In which phase is the Moon not visible from Earth? New moon, waxing gibbous, waxing crescent, waning crescent. 21. Although half of the moon is always illuminated, usually only a portion of the illuminated side is visible from Earth. The diagram below represents the relative position of Earth, the Sun, and the Moon. The positions of the Moon are labeled 1 through 8. Which of the moons in the figure are in a crescent phase? Hint: identify the new and full moons on the diagram. Recall when crescent moons occur in relation to the new and full moons. Identify the two crescent moons on the diagram. A, 2 and 4. B, 2 and 8. C, 4 and 6. D, 6 and 8. 22. Augustine observes the moon every 3 days for 15 days. He notices that over this 15-day period, the moon looks different. What accounts for the differences in the appearance of the moon over this time period? The speed of the moon's orbit, the position of Augustine on Earth, the distance between Earth and the Moon, the position of the Moon in its orbit around the Sun. (23) Oksana observed the appearance of the Moon every week for a month. She sketches her observations. Which of these diagrams best shows how the Moon's appearance could have changed during the month Oksana performed her investigation? A, B, C, or D? 24. Anne is looking at the night sky. There is a first quarter moon. What does she see? A moon shaped like a crescent, a moon shaped like a half circle, a moon shaped like a circle shining brightly, no moon in the sky. 25. Which gravitational pull has the greatest effect on tides? The sun's gravitational pull on the Earth, the moon's gravitational pull on Earth, Earth's gravitational pull on the moon, the sun's gravitational pull on the moon. 26. During which two phases of the moon do spring tides take place? A, new moon and full moon. B, new moon, first quarter moon. C, third quarter moon, full moon. Or D, first quarter moon, third quarter moon. 27. During which two phases of the moon do neap tides take place? A, new moon, full moon. B, new moon, first quarter moon. C, third quarter moon, full moon. D, first quarter moon, third quarter moon. 28. Which of these statements best describes the tides? A water level lower than the average water level, a water level higher than the average water level, the periodic rise and fall of water levels in the oceans and other large bodies of water, or changes in water level that happen when Earth, the Sun, and the Moon form a straight line. 29. When Earth, the Sun, and the Moon align to form a right angle, which type of tide takes place? Low tide, high tide, neap tide, spring tide. 30. Which is a similarity between neap tide and spring tides? A, neap tides occur once a year and fall and spring tides once a year in spring. B, each occurs twice a year and relates to the phases of the moon. C, a neap tide occurs at night and a spring tide occurs during the day. D, each tide occurs twice a month and is determined by the pull of gravity of the moon.